Good morning. Welcome to another Theory Thursday. Today we are going over my guitar collection. John, why does that fall under Theory Thursday? Well, because we're going to go a little bit about the history of each guitar and the theory behind why you need different types of guitars, especially if you're doing studio work and if you're trying to get different sounds for different jobs you're trying to do. So that's what we're doing. This is the first part. I have quite a few guitars, and I couldn't do them all in one video. So this is the first part. This is the electrics, the solid body electrics is what we're going over today. There's 4 of them. And yeah, so today I got my gray tweed tie on and my Mickey Mouse watch, which is cool because we just recently got back from a trip to Disney World and it was a blast. So anyway, without further ado, happy Theory Thursday, and let's get into it. Good morning. Today we are looking at my guitar collection, specifically the first half of it, the electrics, the solid body electrics. Why do I have so many guitars? Well, there's a selfish reason and a professional reason. The selfish reason is I just like to have the guitars. It's a known guitarist problem. You just keep buying them. And when you want one, you go out and buy one. And eventually you run out of room. And it's a problem I run into a year ago or two. So the professional reason is each guitar does have its own sound depending on what it is, what pickups it has, how it's created, even what wood is created with it. So I have a few. The 4 solid body electrics I have are, there's 2 main categories. I have Telecasters and Stratocasters, and within those 2 I have 2 each because they're both pretty different. So I used to also have an Epiphone Les Paul, and I'll put a picture here. I just stopped playing it. It was my first ever electric guitar, and it was time to move up to bigger and better things. So I eventually had to get rid of that. But the different sounds comes into play because I don't do too much anymore, but there was a time when I was doing in-home studio work for other people. And people have very specific visions about how they want their music or intro music or sounds, how they want it to sound. So usually in their mind it's, well, I want the guitar to sound like this, but what they're really saying is, and they don't even know it, is that you're playing a single coil guitar. I need a humbucker sound. I need it to be low and beefy and not have any of that 60 cycle hum in it. So there are reasons for having different guitars because each one has a different sound. So starting off is my American Professional 2 Telecaster. This particular one is in roasted pine. You can see the natural finish on here. So this is pine, which is kind of cool because way back when, this is how Fender was making them, with pine, because it was so plentiful. Where they were, and originally it was ash and alder, but then there was a huge problem with ash and they were running out of it and they weren't allowed to use it, so they switched back to pine, and that's how I got this. So this is probably my most played solid body, is this Telecaster. So a little history for you. The Telecaster came out in the 50s. I say 50s because it was originally as the Broadcaster in 1950, but it only had this pickup. It did not have this pickup, and that was a Broadcaster. And a little legal battle later with Gretsch, because they had a drum set called the Broadcaster, Fender ended up having to change the name, and in 1951, the Telecaster was born. They added the other pickup, and this setup is largely unchanged. It's pretty much, the bones of it is the same as how it was in 1950. So there are a lot of diehard guitarists that just play Telecasters. They swear by them. They say Leo Fender did it right the first time, and they don't deviate. You can get a ton of sounds out of this 2 pickup guitar. If I had to only pick one solid body guitar, this would be the one, because you can get so much out of it. There's a lot of famous jazz players actually that play Tellys. First come to mind is Ted Green. If you ever listen to Ted Green, he's got a whole record. I think it's called Solo Guitar. A fantastic record, but that's all on a Telly. Ed Bickert played a Telly. So it's you can get so many sounds out of this, and it's kind of like simplicity, the less is more kind of thing. So just a quick rundown. It's roasted pine. This one's cool because the neck heel is sculpted. I don't know if you can see that right here. Instead of coming to a point, there's a little sculpting right there. Doesn't help me much, but it's cool that it's there. The push knob, let me get close so you can see this. Pretty cool, huh? Basically what that does is it takes these pickups that are usually in series, which is how they're wired, and it switches them to the in parallel. Basically, it's like connecting the two pickups and treating it as like one humbucker, but really far apart. It's kind of the easy way to explain it, but it just gives it different sounds. What else? It's got a C neck, which is the most common, especially today in the modern age for guitars. The pickups are called they always have these crazy names. They're called V-Mod 2 pickups. Basically, they're just your single coil pickups, which means they're susceptible to the 60 cycle hum, but they have a little bit more bite to them. I don't know if they just wrap them more or what's going on. The bridge is a little bit different. So a Telly, traditionally, as you can see, there's holes in the back of the wood here, because when they created this, Leo, he said he wants it to be as easy to work on as possible. So that's why you see the birth of the bolt-on neck. So this whole neck can come off. The strings, there wasn't any crazy arch top or anything you had to deal with. The strings go through the body, up out of the bridge, and down. And that's how you string up a Telecaster. However, this Telecaster also has some holes here. So if you wanted, you could do what we call a top load bridge. And that's where you just string the strings through here and run them down. So it's a little bit different sound. It's a little bit more twangy. The instrument sitar comes to mind. It's not that twangy, but it's more towards that sonically that you get to when you're doing that. So other than that, it's bare bones. It's got not locking tuners or anything, just your basic Fender locking or Fender tuners. Typical switch, three-way switch. First position is bridge, second is both, third position is just your neck pickup. And that's that. So let's hear it. Okay, so here is the Telecaster with just the neck pickup. It's a lot more mellow sound, so you can hear it. Here's the middle position, so that's two pickups. And this one you can get, I mean, kind of funky. It's like, the push, I'll push this in. So what you'll hear is the sound gets a little bit bigger, a little bit beefier, but a little bit more low end. It's going to take that top and cut it down a little bit. So here's without, and here's with it pressed on. So you can hear it kind of beefs the whole sound up, but takes off some of the high end, which is what a humbucker does, essentially. And then you have your bridge pickup, your first position, which is just your bridge pickup, which is pretty much just classic country sounds. So it's just twangy. Right, so, and I didn't even touch the tone knob, which I'll go back to the neck position, and I'll roll it all the way down. So I didn't even touch that. So there's even way more sounds that you can get out of this thing, this boat paddle that some people call it. Kind of looks like one. So anyway, the American Professional 2 Telecaster, this particular one was made May 2022. So it's got a lot of life left in it. So, all right, let's see what's next. Okay, going along chronologically, Telecaster comes out in 1951. 1954, we get the Stratocaster. Okay, there's some pretty big differences between them. Leo Fender came out and created this as an upgrade to the Telecaster. As you saw, the Telecaster was pretty much a block of wood. There were no body contours or anything. And so he looked to fix that. So you can see on here, right here, there's a belly cut, because that's where you would be up against your body. Right here, this is a new one, is what you'd call a heel sculpt, and actually this whole neck joint goes in. You can kind of see the whole thing just slides right into the neck. So that was new. But the belly cut is the big one, and then this arm rest, you can see, is curved this way. So those were the two main things in 1954. This thing came along later, but it was supposed to be a comfort upgrade. And then you'll see there's a third pickup here. So the Tele had a neck pickup, it had a bridge pickup, and now we get the middle pickup, which gives us two more sonic options on the pickup selector. All right, there's now an extra knob. There's your volume. There's a tone control, which we saw on the Telecaster, and there's another tone control. So traditionally, it was your volume was just how much you're putting out. The first tone control controlled these two pickups. The last tone control controls just the bridge pickup. And nowadays, sometimes they make them a little different. There's a lot of mods you can do to them, and you'll see in one of the later ones. Well, we'll talk about that when we get to it. But so instead of a three-way switch, we now get five, because we have first position, second position is these two, third position, middle pickup, fourth position, these two, and fifth position, just neck pickup. All right, this guitar is I think one of the prettiest guitars I've ever seen. The finish is called Texas T. I think it's cool because from far away, or if there's no light shining on it, it almost looks black. But as soon as you get a good look at it, there's some deep, deep sparkles in it. And it's almost like a green brown. So it's called Texas Tea because that's a nickname for oil, Texas tea, which is kind of the same effect on it. You look at a puddle of oil, and from far away it looks black, and you get closer and closer, and you can see rainbow pieces in it, and you kind of changes color before your eyes. So this is one of my favorite colors that Fender's ever done, just Texas tea. It's a D neck. C is the most typical, I'd say, in modern, but I like it. It's a little bit flatter, thinner this way. So that's the D neck. It's got noiseless pickups. So in the last guitar, it had regular single coil. Now, this looks like a single coil pickup, and it's supposed to sound like a single coil pickup. But here's the difference. A noiseless pickup, and that's Fender's brand, that's Fender noiseless pickups. Basically what they're doing is they take a single coil and then they stack another single coil on top of it. So instead of a regular humbucker like you'd see on a Les Paul or a jazz box, where it's a big thick, two pickups right next to each other, they flip it. They do one on top of the other. So technically, these are 3 separate humbuckers, just single coils stacked on top of each other. So they look like single coils, and they're voiced a little bit higher. So it doesn't sound exactly like a humbucker, but you don't get any of the 60 cycle hum. So that's cool. This particular model has what they call an S1 switch. It's kind of the same as the push-push we just saw, and we'll see a push-pull right after this. But what this does, it's a button hidden in the volume knob. And you turn that on and it activates the middle pickup. Now that's only useful in 2 of the positions, because you have 5th position is this. So if you activate it, it's already on, doesn't matter. 4th position is these 2. So if you activate it, doesn't matter. 3rd position is just this. If you activate it, you get these 2, which you could already get with the 4th position, so that doesn't matter. However, here we go. In the 2nd position, you're using these 2 pickups. If you click it, you use all 3. So that's a new sound. That's kind of cool. And then, of course, if you go to the 1st position, just the bridge pickup, you activate it, and all of a sudden you have a telly sound, a neck pickup, and a bridge pickup. All right. So what else can I say about this? 22 frets, same sculpted neck joint as the other one. Locking tuners this time. Fender locking tuners. Other than that, not much else to say. Stratocaster came out in 1954. I think I said that. So let's hear it. Okay, now we're going to start talking about different sounds you can get with different guitars. So the neck pickup on a Stratocaster is just a little bit different than the sound of a telly pickup, because the pickups are just a little bit different. The telly ones, the poles are a little bit closer together, and it's got a metal cover on it, so you can't actually see the individual magnets. On a Stratocaster, you can. So it's still going to be a mellow sound. Okay, just a little bit different. Now this next position, position 4, which is these 2 pickups, this is distinctly Stratocaster. Okay, you can't get this sound on a Telecaster. And it's got a little bit of a quack to it. This position is also famous if you're a fan of John Mayer. That's the position he uses for that, and it's very distinct. Like, you wouldn't be able to play it in a different position. Okay, next is the middle pickup, which I've always thought this one was kind of a gospel sounding one. Right, so it's kind of the best of both worlds, a little bit mellower, a little bit twangy, between the 2, right? And then if you press the S1 switch, you would just be adding the neck, which we already listened to on the 4th position. Now if we go to the 2nd position, these 2, also distinctly Stratocaster. This is the quack I'm talking about. It's kind of like disco or funk. Okay, it's just got I don't know how to explain it. It's just, they call it the quack, because it's like a whack, whack. Okay. Yeah. And then with the S1 switch pressed, we're gonna have I have a pick in my hand, all 3 pickups. So we have the quack adding the neck pickup. So it's kind of like this great amalgamation. Is that the word? Combination. It's got a mellow side to it, but it's also bright enough to play lead on. One of my favorite positions, all three pickups. And then first position, just your bridge, which is going to be similar to the telly sound, but it's going to have a little less bite. Why, you ask? Well, it's still a single coil, and on the telly, it does have the individual magnets poking out. So the pickup's almost the same, but the bridge on the telly, if you remember, it's just a big metal casing, and that actually helps with the sound of the bridge telly. So it's going to be a little bit different, but the idea is the same. So still twangy, still, you know. Still country, still twangy. So that's the bridge pickup. And then if we click the S1 switch in, we get our two pickups spread out, which normally you couldn't get on a Stratocaster, but because of the S1 switch we can, and it sounds like the kind of like the funk, the second position on the Telecaster. So it's got the mellowness of the neck pickup and the attack of the bridge. Great position. So just between those two, you can see why you might need both guitars if you're doing studio work, especially because if someone's playing a country track and they want you on it, you're gonna need the bridge pickup on the Telecaster. This one comes close, but it's not exact. Okay, what else can I say about this? I think that's it. 22 frets. 1954 is when the Stratocaster came out. So let's see what we got next.